short answer is yes, but that's a very topical answer, and I'm sure you want more information. And so I'm just going to share how I personally came to a place where I feel like life is worth living, to where I no longer lose myself in despair and misery and this option in the back of my mind to just leave. That decision haunted me for a long time. No matter how far I thought I got from it, it was like always in my back pocket. And now I don't feel that way. I feel like I truly found my will to live. I'm gonna get into a few of the things that really helped me reclaim my will to live. That first feeling like I wanted to die came when I was a teenager. And then into my early 20s, despite my ambitions to pursue music, and such a clarity of purpose too. Like I was locked in, like I knew music was what I wanted, but just depression and chronic illness really took the larger part of my 20s. I feel like I didn't get to have the experiences that a lot of people get to have in their 20s. I scrounged for rebellious experiences, and I did have a lot of fun, but when it was tainted with this malaise in the background, it just never felt like any of it was worth it. I would experience a lot of like cool things, but then coming back to the pain and being like, this still isn't worth it to me. Like short-lived accomplishments, pleasurable experiences and hedonism and whatever, like nothing can make up for the amount of pain and displacement that I feel on a day-to-day basis. Like it just felt like the negative outweighed the positive always. And so even though I always put my best foot forward, I never felt like, yeah, like life, woo. So yeah, it's been a journey to recover my will to live. A huge part of it for me was philosophical, and this questioning of life and why are we here, what is this, like very existential, very existential, you know, getting into like just generally like asking like what are we doing here, like what is this, looking for the meaning of life, and just really like having this really deep thirst for knowledge, and just like I have to know, I have to figure this out, because I can't cope with the fact that we're just here to suffer. Like, if that's it, then I'ma go, you know? But I knew that wasn't it. And I think what I credit my breakthrough to is just the fact that I never stopped banging at that door. I always knew there was more. I always knew there had to be more, that there was going to be a breakthrough, and that I would eventually live a life that felt like it was worth living. So what changed? Because it's not just like reframing and thinking, focus on the positive, like that's part of it for sure. That is definitely part of it, but it's deeper than that, and you know that. And if you're thirsty for the true answers, like I feel for you when everyone around you is just saying, don't worry, it'll pass, or it'll get better, or the meaning of life is to live it. It's like, that doesn't help me. That does not help me. Healing journey is one of the biggest things. The question of, is life worth it? It's really a question of belonging. Like, do I belong here in life? And so much of like the sense of belonging, it has to do with like the root chakra, being in your body, being grounded, feeling safe, feeling like the earth is your home, feeling like your body is your home. And so much of it is just trauma work. That's going to be a different journey for every person, but that really was most of it. It's like we project what's inside of us onto the world around us. So if we feel like, oh, like the world sucks or life sucks, it's like really getting existential about the world at large is a coping mechanism. It is a way of avoiding feeling the pain that's in your body, because everything is right here. Everything is inside of you. It's your body. We experience the world through our nervous system, through our body. And this is the lens that we see everything through. And when we feel more tired, our perception of the world changes. Like, our perception of what we think is possible changes. If we don't feel safe in our bodies, then we don't feel like we belong in life, and we'll just want to leave. So my recommendation is the work of Mami Onami, especially her book, Wheels Reinvented. It's like the simplest way of just getting right to the root of your trauma, healing it, and moving on with your life. No therapy for 10 years, no medications, you don't need anyone else to do it, really. It's just the most straightforward thing, and like, it's been done. I don't need to explain it. She knocked it out of the park, and that's just like my recommendation for that. But there's no shortcut to just feeling your pain, feeling the pain that's in your body, and feeling the pain of being loved. If we've never felt loved, then in our adult years, when love touches you, it hurts. And you have to like let that love annihilate you, because there's nothing else. Like, otherwise you hide from love, and you yearn for it, and you swirl around, and you loop in these mental loops, waiting for it to be enough, like asking for it to be enough, asking for more, or complaining for more, but it's just never enough until you just let that love in. So much of it is just unbecoming the things that you're not, and that takes time. You can think like you have this tree that represents who you weren't, and this tree is made up of all your traumas and fears and doubts and insecurities and all this like stuff that's just not you. These facades, coping mechanisms, defense mechanisms, like personality traits that are just compensations for pain that you feel. And you have to just understand that tree is gonna burn, and eventually the stump, the roots, and the more heavy part is gonna burn last, and that's just gonna take time. As long as you follow some effective method of trauma work, it does get better. But it doesn't get better passively. Like, it requires doing the inner work. And everyone talks about that inner work. Well, that's pretty much everything. Like, you'll block yourself off from the source of life until you clear the blockages. It's that simple. If you feel like things aren't flowing in your life, you just have to ask, like, what is blocking it? Another thing is ask better questions. Ask better questions. Like, maybe the question, is life worth it, is a little bit too vague. Maybe ask, how can I find out if life is worth living? Maybe ask, what kind of experience could I seek out that would change my mind? Now, maturity is a huge part of it. You have to recognize the learned helplessness that most of us in the modern world grew up with. If you grew up in America eating chicken nuggets and watching cartoons, and you had no responsibilities, and all your critical thinking was taken by institutions, like, you have to understand that you were programmed to be helpless. And it is your responsibility, not your fault, your responsibility to reprogram that. Because we are so powerful. You can feel it when I'm looking at you and saying it. I'm booming because I feel that power. You are. And it's so much of this reclaiming my power that instilled my will to live. Because what is will but our power? To me, the will comes from the solar plex, the sun, the soul. My ability to choose with my mind, my ability to steer the ship, to steer my focus. And so much of my despair and this wanting to die just came from victimhood. And if that's you, then I have so much compassion, because most of us that grew up like Y2K generation, millennial generation, like we were highly shamed by our parents and our society and everything. And shame causes us to avoid taking responsibility because it puts too much pressure on making decisions. If you ever experienced narcissistic abuse, you're going to struggle really hard with taking responsibility, because the need to make the right decision is crippling. And it is in this avoidance of responsibility that we suffer. Life is constant work, but the work that I experienced throughout my childhood and early adult years is not the work that I'm referring to. I only ever experienced situations, relationships, and jobs, and especially jobs, that just extract value from me and extract my life force until I'm left with nothing. And so I felt like, well, if I'm just in this world that I put forth effort and I don't get reciprocated and I just get drained and siphoned from, why would I want to be here? And most of us that are asking this question, we're like the smartest people here. We're asking good questions. We're efficient. We're engineers. We're artists. We're creatives. Like, that just never found a place. We just never had placement. What also changed for me significantly is actually experiencing the magic of life. Like, and learning that the magic of life is a subtle one. It's a subtle energy. It's a whisper. And it drops you a little clue. And when what's that? Then you grab that clue, and then like you get led down the path, and a little more opens up, and a little more opens up, and a little more opens up, until you're like on this like mystical journey that you're like, whoa, this is like so cool. It really does it for me. Like the magic is real. Like it really is, but it requires listening and a willingness to see it and hear it. Because I grew up in this chicken nugget french fry generation with no responsibility and everything handed to me, like I just was like deeply impatient and spoiled. And it was like when I learned to shut the fuck up and listen to life, then I became a student of life, and I realized that there's so much here for me to learn from and to grow from, and that in every situation, even if it seems undesirable, is the opportunity for your power, for your wealth. Everything is there for you if you have the eyes to see it and the ears to hear it. We have been decimated by social media, and we want everything right now. No one wants to put in work for like longer term goals and things that aren't instantly gratifying. We lose our passion, our fervor for life because we're so impatient. And this is part of maturing, is like realizing that we're addicted to short form content, and we're addicted to convenience and instant gratification, and taking responsibility for that and getting it under control. We have to. This is our fight. This is how we reclaim humanity in the face of everything that is going on. Grace. I want to talk about grace. I am not of any religious denomination. I do believe in God, but I walk a more like path of mysticism and gnosis. But you don't even need to like have any sort of faith or any relationship to God to know grace. But when you can conceptualize grace, it starts to shift how you perceive negative things that happen to you. So a really great example is in the movie V for Vendetta, when she gets thrown in the jail cell by V, and he shaves her head and leaves her in there for however long and like literally tortures her. And when she comes out, she realizes that he was the one that tortures her. And when she realizes that He tortured her because he loves her. She breaks down in tears in the pouring rain, and she has that catharsis. And this is grace. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears received. Woo! Yeah. It took me a long time, and I had beef with God for a long time. Like, 'cause I'm stubborn. Like, I'm stubborn, and like, I want to know what's going on. Like, so I'm just like, yo, God, what are you doing to me? Like, what is going on? It just takes time to know grace. But I'm offering this as a little nugget of, a little seed of conceptualization if you don't know grace. Ram Dass, when he had his stroke, he said, the stroke was grace. Pressure. When we feel like, I don't want to live, like I want to die, I want you to recognize that that is not an urge towards death. It is an urge towards life. It is life seeking expansion and expression. So that reframe is crucial because we think something's trying to like pull us down, but actually it is the urge to expand. And we will feel the pressure to expand, especially if you're like meant for bigger things. You will feel the pressure to expand intensely. And when we resist that pressure, it builds up and we feel it as depression, anxiety, displacement, etc. And just being like, I just want to die. But really, it's just like life wants to move. Life wants to come through you. Life wants to move. It wants to express. When I resist my true purpose, which I did for so long, then like I just lived with this pressure constantly. People that are meant for big things, like we will suffer when we try to squeeze ourselves into situations that we just don't belong in. And I really feel for you if you have a hard time, like you know that you don't quite fit in this way of living, but you don't feel like you're good enough for the next stage of living, and so you're kind of just in this in between. I went through this for the longest time, and it was just because I kept shrinking myself and not seeing myself, not seeing my gifts and everything that I have to offer. What changed is that the pressure just got so much that I was like, something's got to give. Something's got to give. As soon as you step into the current of your purpose, it's like the everything just flows, and you feel fine, and you feel grounded, and you feel good, and you're like, oh, okay, that was it. Like people like me, like artistic, creative, autistic, weird, we've felt isolated like for most of our lives. I never could feel like I could connect to people ever. I would leave situations and then just be like, nah, that was all right. But like, and I put myself out there. I would go to festivals and events and yada yada, and like I had friends, but I just wasn't really like connecting, I really just think this is one of the biggest pieces of this, is like, we don't want to live alone. Like, life is meant to be shared, and I just think about the movie Into the Wild, where that guy, and it's based on a true story, this guy runs off into the woods and he dies alone on this school bus because he ate the wrong berries out in the wilderness because he isolated himself. And he literally says, like, he left a note that says, like, happiness is best when shared. It really is so true. But what was blocking me from connection was the refusal to see myself clearly. Unfortunately, for a lot of us who experience like narcissistic abuse, narcissistic people tend to prevent us from seeing our power because it threatens them. Like, they get in your head and they prevent you from seeing yourself. Once you see yourself, other people will see you too. And they're all here. They've all been waiting. Like, and once I saw myself, I was received in a way that I never thought I could be. Like, I released my first song and I kind of expected to throw it out into the void. And I had like so many people message me and encourage me and told me that they listened to it. And that shit, like, that sent me. And I was like, wow, like, it is possible. Like, people do love you. Like, they just don't know where you are if you're hiding. Choosing not to see yourself is a form of self-abandonment. And your body will pay the price. You will have issues in your liver, your gallbladder, and you'll feel resentful. You'll be at your job and you'll be like, I can't stand this. I can't stand this person. I hate this place, da da da. But it's like, you're not mad at the job. You're mad at you for not seeing you and putting you in better situations. We deserve to see ourselves and choose ourselves. And that also sets us free from codependent relationships and chasing partners, because when you're like, oh, I see me, I choose me, like, then everything, the polarity flips, the magnet just flipped, and now you start bringing stuff in instead of like, will you see me? Will you see me? Am I good enough? Am I good enough? Albert Einstein says, the only question we have to ask ourselves is if we believe in a friendly or hostile universe. And I really believe that you cannot reject a part without rejecting the whole. So you need to decide, does nothing matter or does everything matter? Because you are free to choose. But you have to choose. Otherwise, you will stay in holding patterns, in pressure, in, I don't know, like, what am I doing here? And, you know, I've seen too much evidence of a friendly universe for me to deny. And that's coming from someone who used to be lost in the negative despair sauce. I used to hate life. I used to want to die. I was, like, more or less nihilistic. I remember one time when I was struggling, I walked past a billboard that said, it's only worth it if you enjoy it. When we die, we want to look back and be like, you know, I had fun, like, I did epic shit, I shared so much love with the world, like, I learned so much, I enjoyed my experience in this school that is Earth. There's this, like, narcissistic mind virus that comes from our media and our culture that says, like, if you're not the center of the mandala, like, you're irrelevant. What makes this one leaf less relevant than the entire forest? Oh, because it's dead and it's crinkly and it's something? Like, no. You have to understand, it's all right here. Your wholeness is here right now. Not once you heal, not once you change. We can enjoy a full, meaningful, beautiful, overflowing life. And it doesn't need to be glamorous and postable. And lastly, if you're struggling out there and you're really asking this question, should I be here and should I live my life? I send my heart out to you. I know how hard it is. I know how easy it is to be misunderstood in this scenario, and how talking to people just isn't gonna give you, it just doesn't always give you that thing that you're looking for. And I want you to think too that when you're in this state, you're experiencing pressure. It is pressure to expand into something better. You have tunnel vision right now, so you're not thinking clearly. And so just know, like, you have options. Like, if you are so crushed by survival mode right now, like, and if you have the ability to, like, reduce your overhead, like, go do, like, woofing. You can go live on a farm and just decompress and live to work for a little while, like, just to get your feet back under you and get your hands in the dirt and ground and connect to the earth and, you know, be in nature. You have options and there's help out there. Just reach, just ask. There's so much more for you. And I just hope that this video helped. I hope you can feel the truth that I'm emanating to you, because it is. Just trust and just keep banging at that door. Just keep knocking at the door. Breakthrough is guaranteed, I promise you. So, if you like this video, if this video helped you, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps me out. Yeah, have a wonderful day.